It's it's a wild November day, rainy, windy, and pretty cold and miserable. But I'm down in the wood where the feral bee colony is, and as I said I intended to do last year, I brought an old jar of hardened, cheap honey for the bees, and what I intend to do is to stick it maybe upside down in the fork of a branch or something near their colony, with the hope that they'll find it and use it to supplement their reserves for the winter. Who knows? We'll try and do that, even though the little blighters stung me on the chin last time I came to have a look at them. No malice here. And maybe in the not too distant future I'll come back and see if they've actually taken any of this stuff. But anyway, here goes. I'm not going to try to film whilst placing the jar. I'll probably be dodging bees if it's anything like my last visit here. Okay, well, we'll see how it goes. Right, well, who knows? I've stuck the jar in the sort of a hollow in the tree there, upside down so it won't fill with rainwater. And the entrance to the bee colony is just about there, so it's very close by. And I'm hoping that when there's a mild day, they'll come out and about and hopefully find that. But we'll see what happens. Anyway, good luck to the little blighters. I'm off before they grow too unhappy with my presence. And of course my little mate is here helping me in this project, getting very wet and having a whale of a time. And I'll probably spend the afternoon pulling prickles and thorns and burrs out of his fur and skin. So that's the joy of a life with a spaniel. Okay, good luck to the bees. Bye for now. Well, it's about 10 days on and I'm back at the tree. It's a pretty cold, miserable morning. No sign of, first of all, of any bee activity, but that doesn't surprise me today. But slightly concerning, no sign of anything having been taken from the honey jar that I jammed into the tree. Now, we haven't really had any great weather, but we've had 1 or 2 days that have warmed up, and I'd hoped that it might have been mild enough for the bees to get out and about, in which case they would probably have found that honey. So I don't know. It could be that they're just hunkered down in there and started their winter sort of semi-hibernation. But it's a little concern. I thought there might have been something by now, but I'll keep coming back and we'll keep an eye on things, see if there's any change. It was similar last year, if I recall, that I was quite concerned that the bees might have lost it. Oh, hello. I think that was just a wasp that's just gone into that honey jar. It is. There he goes. So someone's found it. It's doing some good for somebody. They're not really the boys I wanted to encourage. However, they are important parts of the ecosystem, so we shouldn't condemn the wasp just because they like to sting us. Anyway, if there are developments, I'll report them. Meanwhile, it still makes for a nice walk. And here's some geese coming our way now. But we'll enjoy the rest of our walk in the woods. And we'll keep an eye on our bee friends. Fingers crossed that they've made it. We're on the edge of the wood here. And oh, I don't know if this is going to pick them up, but there's a nice skein of geese going over. I don't know if I can catch them on my phone. Possibly not. It's a lovely sound. Right, onward. Let's complete our walk because, according to the forecast, in an hour's time there's an 80% chance of rain. So we'll be home and decorating hopefully before then. Okay, so bye for now. Well, here we are on a pretty dank, misty Saturday morning in December, and we're going to take Midgie for a little walk up to visit our bees. So let's launch this Springer Spaniel. Come on then. Yeah, stay with me. Can't come in, Midge, so stay to heel. Come here. Come to heel. Good boy, you stay there. Sit. Well, that's down rather than sit, but safe enough. Come on then, let's go. He's keen to be away, and he knows where we're going. Right, so here we go. We're going to head up and see the feral bee colony again. This is quite a few days on from the last time I visited them, when I left some old honey and then came back and checked without any sign of any activity. And I'm trying out a new camera system today, so this is also a good test to see how that goes. Midge, of course, is enthusiastic, as he always is, about everything we do. Let's just flip round and have a look at him. Always way ahead when we're out on a walk. As far as Midge is concerned, walks are his thing, and he's in charge. He knows exactly what's going on. Takes the lead. Not the dog lead, obviously. So while he snuffles around in the hedges, I've been pretty remiss, haven't I? I haven't done much filming recently. I'm just padding around. You can see how dank and miserable and wet the weather is. It's sort of misty. And we've had fogs and we've had drizzle. And if I'm honest, I'm a bit of a fair weather filmer. It would have been nice to get some footage of lovely autumnal leaves. Didn't really get the chance. You know, no sooner had the leaves sort of got to the stage where I thought these would be nice to film, then we got a really strong wind and everything went. We had one day of snow, which really didn't come to very much, so no opportunities then. But otherwise it's just been miserable, I'm afraid. However, we make the most of it. We go on these little walks. We do this at least once, usually twice a day. We get out with Midgie and give him some exercise, which makes him far too fit and therefore needing more exercise. It's a vicious circle, but he's happy and it keeps me out and about as well. Keeps me reasonably fit for an old bloke, I suppose. Now let's see what he's up to. There he comes. Midge, see if you can find us a stick and we'll play one of your favourite little games. We'll look out for a stick and I'll show you what his latest craze is. So this is what Midge likes to do these days. It's the lazy man's way of playing fetch with his dog, you see. So rather than throw a stick for him, I just put one down and tell him, Midge, leave it. Okay? Leave it. Come on then. And so off we go. And we just walk up the track. And he carries on with his bit of fun. And we wait till we've got a good distance from the stick. As this is first of the day, we won't go too far. Hey, Midge. Midgie. Now this usually involves a bit of yapping and barking. No, just a minute. You ready? Go fetch it then. Go on. Go on away. Get it. Go and get the stick. And it's remarkable how well he remembers where sticks are. You can put them in the most obscure places and he gets them. And he does it with huge amounts of enthusiasm. Come on then, here. Midge. Dead. That's it, he drops the stick. And leave it there. Come on. Good boy. So, obviously he needs the input and the enthusiasm from me about all of this, because he could quite easily play this game on his own just by dropping sticks and going back for them. And then he gets very excited about it. When I tell him to go, he always does a couple of yaps and he sort of hesitates as if he doesn't know what he's doing. But of course he does. Midge. Go and get it then, come on. Alice, where is it? Catch it. Go and get your stick. Yay! Here it comes in at such speed, it's impossible to stop in time. Anyway, I've had enough of that nonsense. That's the sort of thing we do on a day-to-day basis. Keeps our simple minds happy. But we'll resume this when we get to the wood where our bee colony hopefully still lives. So here we're getting a bit closer now. Believe it or not, this path is actually a road, and it's open to traffic. Obviously, not much more than a motorcycle's going to get through here. But it's actually what's called an unclassified county road, in that it's obviously not an M road or an A or B road. It's unclassified, but it's still maintained by the county to some degree, obviously to the extent that's required, and clearly it's not a major thoroughfare. Unusual, see the tyre tracks, unusual to see tyre tracks in here. You get bicycles that use it, but it's mostly just walkers. I've seen people come up here in 4x4s and get to about this point before turning back because it's too narrow to get through, unless you really want to rip all the paint off your vehicle. So, our bee colony then. You may recall that last winter I was concerned because it looked as though the feral bee colony, which lives in a big beech tree in this wood, appeared to have either left or died out, and because there was no sign of any kind of movement at all. But then turned out they'd coped well through the winter, and I think I said at that time that I wished I'd done a little something to try and help them. But that's what I've done this year. Just pan round. What I did this year, as you've probably, hopefully already seen in clips that I did with my phone, was I brought a half jar of honey that's been in the cupboard for a long, long time, gone very crystallised. I brought that down and wedged it into part of the tree next to their, where the entrance to their colony, in the hope that there might be enough mild weather for them to foray out and collect some of the honey to use for their winter reserves. I did come back, have a look, no sign of any movement. I think there was just one wasp that I saw going in and out of the jar. But I thought I'll come back today and have another look. This isn't really bee weather, let's face it, so it won't surprise me if there's no activity. I just hope they've coped. But we'll see what we can see. This is it's a tiny little wood, really, a copse, I suppose you'd call it. And the bee colony's in a massive beech tree on the edge of it. Lovely word, copse. I'm just going to swing the camera around again. There we go. Copse comes from the word coppice, and coppicing was a technique whereby a tree would be cut at its base and would then produce several trunks instead of one, and they would be cut for various reasons, for making charcoal, that sort of thing. And where that's happened in the past and trees have been left, you get these multiple trunked large trees. Obviously they would never have been allowed to grow that big when it was being coppiced as a commercial activity. And the word copse for a small stand of trees comes from the word coppice. So it looks like another example there of a multi-stemmed or trunked tree. Anyway, we shall follow our little leader here, who's gone tearing off ahead. Still nice to see some autumnal colours, these lovely beech leaves. There's one of the big beech trees. And this little lane that we're walking along, well, I'm actually beside the lane now, just over the wall, flanked with dry stone walls. There's the remains of one. You can see there's a dry stone wall at the other side. Must have been quite a wide thoroughfare in its day. And now this is just an extension of that little track I was on earlier. Now just used by a few walkers mainly, and the occasional horse rider. Very, very occasional vehicle. So here we go. Here's the tree in question. That's where the entrance to the feral honeybee colony is, and that is what's left of the jar of honey that I jammed in there. And you know, I think it's actually reduced. I think the amount has gone down quite considerably, which is a good sign. It might, of course, just be the wasps who've been taking it, but I would hope that on occasion it's been warm enough for the bees to come out and get some. If they're still there, how do you tell? I don't know. I'm not going to stick my nose too far in there because I think, as I've already mentioned, I was stung once in the past. Very unpleasant. Thank you very much, bees. Totally ungrateful. So anyway, we'll keep an eye on that and come back, and hopefully in the springtime we'll come back and see bees going in and out again. Meanwhile, Midge, who's loving having all of these country scents to sniff, will enjoy the rest of his walk. It's a pretty dense, unmanaged bit of woodland, this. But it's lovely. It's dripping. The mist is settling out onto the trees, and it's dripping all around us. There's droplets of water everywhere. And if you can see them on these twigs, glistening away. Another of these lovely beech trees which line this road. A lovely gnarled old tree. And you can see how wide this thoroughfare was in its heyday. There's the base, the remains of a wall on that side, and the wall on the other side. So this must have been a major thoroughfare. Just as a brief aside here, I've mentioned in the past how I really appreciate the way some of our Lincolnshire farmers open up land to allow people to walk the paths and the field edges. And I'm also impressed the way some farmers look after the public footpaths. Not all by any means, and sometimes it can be difficult to work out where a public footpath goes, especially if it's across a field. But look at this for an example. I don't know how he's done it, he or she, but the farmer has treated the ground in such a way that you could not mistake where the public footpath goes across that field. Look at that. It's like the yellow brick road. And really, hats off to them. They didn't need to go to that length, but however they've done that, that's very impressive. Hello, hello. Guess what? A celebration balloon, one of my favourites, eh? They are everywhere. And meanwhile, what is it? I've just had a heavy stick hit me on the foot here. Thanks very much, Midge. Go on, go on. Go and get it. The boy's a maniac. But it keeps him happy. Right, come on, off we go. Underneath these, particularly these two big beech trees, the ground is just covered in the husk of beech mast, which is the name for the nuts from the beech tree. It's just carpeted with this stuff, and it must be a squirrel's paradise when the beech mast is falling. What have you got there, Midge? A suitably ridiculous stick. Go on then. Anyway, we will carry on with our little woodland walk. Get damp and soggy and cold. And yeah, not a very exciting one this, but I hope you enjoyed joining us for that little hopeful bee colony inspection. I hope I'll get a little bit of footage over the Christmas period, joining my daughter and her partner. I'm in their bubble. As I live alone, I can join their two-person family unit, and so Midge and I are going to go there for a few days over Christmas, and Midge will be able to play with his best mate Hector. It's my daughter Laura's Sprocker, cross between a Springer and a Cocker Spaniel, and they just play like maniacs the whole time they're together. So it's guaranteed that Midge will have a good time. I'm sure we all will, and hopefully we'll have some nice walks and get some film of some of that. But if you don't see me again before Christmas, I hope everyone stays safe and has a wonderful Christmas holiday, and we look forward to some better weather and a chance to see you all in the next one. So from my little mate Midgie, and of course from me, it's goodbye, and we hope to see you again soon. Take care. Bye bye.